Well, welcome guys to another night of reality in Albuquerque. Continuing our series on dating. So the last study was about the first part of dating, which is that it is a spiritual thing, right? We have to grow in the spirit. We have to be accountable to one another in spiritual growth. And that's really going to be the foundation for everything else. That's why we started with that. Because if you don't have that foundation of everything it really is spiritual, and the attitude of making sure that you are ready spiritually for a relationship before you even enter into that relationship, and then making sure that that relationship is centered in and focused around God. To make it simple. So what we want to do now is move on to the next part, which is that there is a growth and connection. There is actual relationship that's going on, which is not so much spiritual. But keeping in mind everything that we go after that, the next 4 series that we have, including this one, keeping in mind that foundation that we've laid about everything being spiritual, and that we have to have a relationship with God first, because like I said, we don't have this if we don't have this. It just doesn't even happen, right? We love because He first loved us, and all the other things that we talked about last time. So a relationship, needs to be defined in its human connection. What do I mean by that? I mean, it's an intricate involvement of 2 different people sharing their lives, right? Past, present, and future included. The more that we learn about one another, the more that we can appreciate one another. I hope that makes sense. The more that we learn about one another, the more we can appreciate one another. Or to put into some other words, it's a phrase I'm very fond of. Again, one of those phrases I'll probably say over and over again. Loving somebody is seeing them through God's eyes. When we see them through God's eyes, we see them completely, right? We see them for who they are completely. Which is the cool thing about that, is you can never stop becoming more and more in love with someone, because you can never stop getting to know them. I think it's cool. That's my little phrase definition of love. So growth in relationship is achieved through communication, accountability, and serving. And serving means serving each other and serving others as a couple. I hope that makes sense, right? Serving each other and serving others as a couple. A couple that's all about themselves. You probably have friends like this. They're awful to be around, right? They're just all about themselves. They want the attention for themselves. They're always complaining about their problems. But couples that are more concerned about how they're serving other people, couples that minister to other couples that invite people over to their house, couples that they have an outreach, right? They're awesome to be around. You have those married friends that you just always want to hang out with, because they're just not all about themselves, right? They're not self-consumed, and that is an important part of a healthy relationship, believe it or not. So there is some things I do want to go over. The first thing is, should we be dating? Right? Should we be dating? I mean, the last one was all about keeping everything spiritual. It doesn't really face the issue about dating. And usually I usually make the statement that I don't really want to say anything pro or negative about dating, because it's too controversial, but I'm just gonna do it, okay? Dating, courting, if you want to call it that, it's the same thing. I don't care. They're the same thing. Should we be doing it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That may surprise you, because I very much plan on dating. But the reason I say that is this: the only premise that we're given in the Bible at all, it's not courting, it's not dating, it's nothing like that. It's arranged marriages. That's it. That's the only example we are ever given in the Bible. Arranged marriages. So if you're going to actually say, hey, what's the correct way to do it? The correct way to do it is arranged marriages, right? That's the bottom line. Go to a country where they have arranged marriages. Look at the divorce rate. It's ridiculously low, right? Because they're not all about themselves. It's not a self-serving culture. It's a culture that accepts responsibility when responsibility is given. And that is the idea behind arranged marriages. Other things that happen in arranged marriages, right? No parents are going to let their kids marry each other if they're not already stable. So you're not entering into relationships where one person is in crazy amount of debt, or maybe 2 people are in crazy amount of debt, and they don't have their lives together, because the parents aren't going to let that happen. There's not any cons really of arranged marriages. I mean, you can say it's like, oh, but you're not in love, but man, you will fall in love with somebody that is stable. You will fall in love with someone that is there for you, someone that's supportive, someone that's reliable. I mean, that is someone that you can fall in love with very easily. And let's face it, love is seeing somebody through God's eyes. It has nothing to do with your emotions, right? I mean, it's great to have that emotional connection. I think that's a very important thing to have. But arranged marriages are the proper, appropriate, and only acceptable way to do it as described in the Bible. There's no dating in the Bible. There's no courting in the Bible. There's nothing like it. The only thing they have is arranged marriages. Now, that's never going to happen for a couple of reasons. In today's culture, how many girls even have dads, right? Or how many guys even have dads? Like, no one has parents anymore. You can't really make the whole deal with the parents. I mean, it just isn't going to work. Culture is a little bit different. It's no longer the male supporting the female. It's not necessary anymore. Thank goodness. That I think it kind of just takes a load off of everyone's mind. So I mean, it's not a contract that would be signed between a man and a woman's father. It's not the way it would be done anymore. There's a lot of things that are different. The biggest thing is that we don't have parents anymore, right? That's the biggest thing. If we're gonna take everything out, we just don't have family units like we used to. So having an arranged marriage is extremely difficult in the United States. Not that there aren't people who still do it. There are people who do it, and they're successful in doing it, and good for them. But the majority of us are going to date, myself included. All my siblings dated, my parents dated. Everyone dates now. So how are we going to go about this? Well, I'm going to say a lot of things, and there's going to be an exception to everything I say. Okay? First thing I'm going to say is nobody has any business dating in high school, period. Just period. There's an age where it is appropriate to date, and it is after high school. And in fact, it is not even in your first couple of years of college. It is whenever you have a career path lined up. Because this is why. You have no business bringing into a relationship the fact that you have not figured out who you are yet. Let me say that again. You have no business bringing into a relationship the fact that you do not know who you are yet. Self-discovery, figuring out who you are, you do that way before the relationship. Okay? So if you're not sure what you want to do with your life, you're not sure where you want to go with your life, dating, you're bringing that insecurity, you're bringing that unsureness, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, you're bringing that into a relationship, and it's going to make it less stable. Not that you can't make it work, but you're going to make it less stable. Now, what's the exception to that? Well, my parents got married when they were 17 and 18, right? Obviously dated in high school. Well, guess what they did? They left high school, they went to college, they got jobs immediately. They had the career path lined up already. So as much as you can say, hey, your parents are an exception, my parents aren't an exception. They're an exception only because they just did it earlier than most people, right? They did it earlier than most people. They had their life planned out earlier than most people. Good for them. It works for them. And they've had an amazing marriage. But for the majority of us, I mean, I figured out what I wanted to do, a year ago? I had no business dating before that. None. None whatsoever. Bringing that into a relationship caused issues in every single one of my relationships. Every girl that came into my life and I was in a relationship with that didn't know what they wanted to do with their lives brought that insecurity. I mean, girl that I just want to get a degree. I just want to get a degree. As soon as that degree is coming up, you see all these girls breaking up with their boyfriends. Why? Because they're not sure what they want to do and they're freaking out. And I think something clicks and says, I shouldn't be bringing this into a relationship. Not that I don't think they would ever word it that way, but I think that's what happens. And the same thing happens to guys. We freak out. We're like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. We need to take a break. So that's why I say that. I think there is an age when it's appropriate to date, and it's certainly not high school. Middle school, don't even get me started. That's just dumb. So I know that's not going to be popular. I know that's anti-cultural or whatever. I don't care. That's the logical fact. That's the truth. Don't bring that into a relationship. Relationship is supposed to be stable. So figure yourself out spiritually. All last video was about that. Figuring yourself out spiritually, making it center around God. Everything needs to be around God. Even the relationship is about becoming closer to God. Now, if that is your goal, why would you even be tempted to enter into a relationship when you're not ready for that? And I'm not saying it's always logical. I'm not saying that there's not going to be some exceptions to that. I'm not going to say that some people don't make it work amazingly. I have siblings that make it work amazingly. And I think still some of my siblings still have no idea what they wanted their careers to be. But they're all married. They have good families. But they would all admit that it makes it much harder. I think they'd admit that very freely. That makes it much harder. Um, but there are some things that once you are in that relationship, right? Okay, so we passed the time frame thing. There is a time frame. There's a place you should be in your life. You should know who you are. You should be secure in yourself. If you have issues, depression, bipolar, suicidal thoughts, why would you bring that into a relationship? You're going to be fighting all the time. Insecurity, if that's an issue you have, go get counseling. Okay, go get professional help. There's no shame in that. It's stupid not to. It's stupid not to. It's there. Most businesses will even pay you for your first few counseling sessions. Most jobs. So go do it. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I've seen counselors. I've seen counselors. Most people in my family have seen counselors. And we're not really the most messed up people in the world. We're certainly not perfect. But sadly, and this is true. Sadly, it's the not messed up people that are willing to go see the counselors. The really messed up people won't even consider it. I don't know why that is. I don't know. Fortunately, I was really messed up, and I was okay with seeing one. Fortunately, but usually it's not the case. So there's a couple of acronyms I want to go over. I mean, because in a relationship, yeah, you're going to be in that relationship, and there are some guidelines as far as how we should behave. And I pull these from a lot of different things, but Love and Respect. It's a really good book. I recommend that you read if you are already in a relationship. If you're looking at marriage, absolutely look at that. Before I get into it, I want to say this: dating is done with the idea that marriage is coming. When I say that, I mean this. If you're dating someone with a 2-year plan, that's stupid. For 2 reasons. One, you're dealing with the idea of getting married. So why are you dating somebody if you really aren't even ready to get married for the next couple of years? That's just... I mean, man, you're tying yourself down for no reason, 1. And 2, what a headache. And 3, we're going to get into purity and sex next talk. We're going to be talking about sex the entire next talk. Good luck dating somebody for 2 years and not having sex. I mean, for those of you who have done it, fantastic. Good for you, spot on. Most of you will not. Most of you will fail. Just simple as that. And if you don't fail, you are going to have so many issues because of that constant temptation and that constant unsatisfied desire that you are putting yourself in that situation for 2 years. Oh my gosh. How frustrating. You're going to end up frustrated. So I think there's a couple time frames. Get married within 2 years when you start dating. Be able to get married within 2 years when you start dating. I don't see why that would be crazy. What does it mean to be able to get ready? Pay for a ring in full. Don't go into debt. Try to be out of debt before you get married. Right? Try to be able to afford maybe a down payment, a house, or at least a comfortable apartment. Right? Have a budget. Have a budget. Be about to get out of debt or out of debt. 2 years. It's not that long. Okay? Settle down. If you're in middle school or high school watching this, why are you even thinking about dating? You have so much stuff you could be doing. My goodness. The best years of my life were when I were not dating. Okay? High school was awesome when I was not dating. And if you start dating, it becomes dramatic. Exactly the reason I started out high school not dating is because I knew it would be dramatic. And I knew it would be stupid. I knew there was no reason for anybody to date in high school. I remember saying that to people in middle school. And I dated in middle school too until I realized it was just stupid. Those are awesome, the years I didn't date. Oh my gosh. So much fun. No drama. College, when I wasn't dating, so much fun. No drama. Why would you put yourself through that? Anyways, 2 acronyms I want to teach you. For the guys, it's going to be leads. L-E-A-D-S. A man leads. And for the girls, it's going to be cares. C-A-R-E-S. A woman cares. So speaking to the guys first, right? It is an acronym, right? Leads. So 5 words that I want you to write down. So put this on pause. Go get a pen and paper and start taking notes. Actually, I hope you're already taking notes. Write these down. The first is L, right? Love. The first responsibility of a man in a relationship is to love. That's what the woman needs. She needs that. She needs that from us guys. We need to love her. The second is empathy. We need to be able to empathize with our partner. We need to be able to just completely understand that we can understand what they're feeling. They don't always need us to fix an issue. Usually. I'm going to say 99% of the time, she just wants you to empathize with her. Feel her struggle with her. Be there with her in that struggle, whatever it is. That's what she's going to need from us as her partner, right? The third is going to be affirmation, okay? She does a great job. Let her know constantly. If a beautiful girl isn't called beautiful every day, then that is a crime. I believe that. I believe that. I grew up with my dad bragging about how beautiful my mom was every single day throughout the day. That's doing it right. Plain and simple. It's the only way to do it. But also, whenever she does something, appreciate that. Say, hey, I see what you're doing there. Whenever she has dinner ready, if you guys are already married, if she has dinner ready, thank her for that. Appreciate that. Recognize it. If she just does anything nice for you, recognize it. Recognize when she takes time to look nice for you. Affirmation. The fourth is this, dependability. Now this is probably where men struggle the most in this day and age. Dependability, because we're not taught it anymore, right? It's not expected that guys are going to be dependable. We're expected to be late. We're expected to be disheveled. We're expected to be kind of gross. We're expected to be flakes, basically. We're not dependable. Well, we need to change that. We need to change that. And if you're not willing to change that, then you have no business dating. If you're not ready to change that, then you have no business dating. So, dependability. What does that mean? When you say you're going to do something, you do it the first time. You don't lie about things. You're honest. You don't have anything you need to lie about. Another reason you shouldn't be getting into a relationship before you're spiritually ready, before you have all your other issues worked out. We're going to be talking about porn a fair amount next time. If you're dealing with porn and you're getting into a relationship, stop it. Just stop it. Talk to any married couple today and ask what porn did to their marriage. Because probably, again, at least 90% of couples in marriages have had porn affect them. Just be dependable. Be someone you can be relied on. And the last is serve. Serve. When you go into a marriage, you are going into that marriage to serve that other person. The example Christ gave us was washing his disciples' feet. It was disgusting what he did. Washing feet. They were wearing sandals, for goodness gracious. People were peeing in the street still. His feet were nasty. He got down his knee and he washed his feet. Couples do this. I've seen marriage ceremonies where the couples will wash each other's feet, and I think it's so beautiful. I love it. I've heard of people who propose to their wives by washing their feet and then proposing. I think it's so cool. I love that. I love that. So leads: love, empathy, affirmation, dependability, and serve. Okay?